Hello,
Okay.
everyone, and welcome to the Starlit Shelf, where we talk about books, stories, and the authors who bring it to life. Today, we have M.K. Duran here, author of the Bronze and Blood Saga and the Mythic Artifact series, which is brand new, hasn't even been released yet, right?
That's right.
Oh my gosh. So that's coming, if I remember, Bloodstone is what it's called, correct? And
Mhm.
it's coming out May 5th.
That's right.
How
Yeah.
how's that going for you right now?
Yeah. I mean, so I queried that book a couple years ago. That was my first time really querying an agent to represent me to big publishers. And I didn't have a great experience. It was really bad for my anxiety and the way that I felt about my writing. I really fell out of love with writing.
Oh no.
Um, but I couldn't look at it for a while because I would get like flashbacks. It was like PTSD of like this book is awful. And it became this like Frankenstein type of like because I was taking feedback from this agent and that agent and the whole thing. But I was finally able to look at it, and my critique partners really helped me, get through it and kind of make it, better and what it needed to be. So, yeah. So I finally picked it back up again, and that's what it had a different name, but now it's Bloodstone.
And how are you feeling about it now? Because I feel like, so from my experience in talking with authors, I feel like imposter syndrome is really, really, really common with indie authors. So it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like you're kind of dealing with that or just coming out of it. And so, how are you feeling about it now? And how did you kind of get out of that slump?
I think it helped once I'd published a couple of other books that to, kind of tell myself, oh, okay, your writing isn't garbage. It's not like you, it was them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like a breakup thing, but kind of opposite. And I think it definitely helped to see that people liked my other series and
Hmm.
that it wasn't just that I was like bad at writing.
No, so because you applied to be my monthly spotlight author, and I think I read about 3 pages of your book and I was like, this is phenomenal writing. I am down. And I think I looked at how many, you have over 1,000 reviews for
Hmm.
Trial of Bronze and Blood.
Yeah.
So obviously you're
Yep.
doing something right.
Yeah, I hope so. I
Yeah.
hope so. Yeah. I just put up the advanced reader copy sign up for Bloodstone like 3 days ago, and already 100 people want to read it. So
Oh, that's amazing. See, look
yeah,
at you. Look at you
I
go.
know.
You're doing just
But
fine.
then I'm
Okay.
like, uh-oh, people are actually gonna read it now. So
Okay, so I honestly, so do you have a quick little elevator pitch for, I honestly want you to do both if you don't mind. So in the Starlit Shelf Book Club, we're going to be featuring the Bronze and Blood Saga. And we're going to be starting with Trial of Bronze and Blood, obviously. But I also want to hear about your new series and what that's all about.
yeah, definitely. So the elevator pitch for we'll do Tobab. We're gonna call it Tobab.
Okay,
Because
Tobin,
even though it
I love
sounds
it.
weird, it's so much easier to say. So for that one, it's the deadly trials and like Roman Empire setting of Gladiator, combined with the second chance romance of the Princess Bride, which I think the Princess Bride thing like throws people off. They're like, oh, is it take place during that time you said Roman Empire inspired? It's like, no, it's just the fact that they like kind of liked each other and then like
He
we're
left.
sort of, yeah, and
Yeah.
then he left, and yeah, so that's kind of what I mean by that. Not like fully like masked. There's no masked men. Sorry.
Yeah, no, darn it, not this time.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. I felt like
Exactly.
when I
But
was reading Trial of Bronze and Blood, because I love the movie Gladiator, and all I
hmm
kept picturing was just that cinematography, like the
hmm
wheat fields and the music. Like I listened to
yeah,
that soundtrack actually pretty frequently. And so that's what I
love
was
it.
listening to while I
Hmm.
was reading your book.
Love that because I listened to it writing it. So
Yeah, oh good.
that makes sense. Yeah. And then I also listened to the Troy soundtrack, which is
Mm,
also very good.
yeah.
And the Pompeii soundtrack, which has Kit Harington in
Oh.
it.
Oh
Have you
yeah.
seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah.
no, But I remember, God, what's the girl's name? The girl from Practical Magic. She's like a little,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
she's in that as well. But I never actually watched the movie. But
It's
another
good.
thing, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's good. It's
Yeah.
nothing like crazy, but it's pretty good. I enjoyed it.
So I'm kind of a nerd and I also play video games, but I've played Assassin's Creed Odyssey,
Hmm.
which but it takes place in Greece. And I was like,
Right.
when I was looking at your book, I was like, this is more like the Romans rather than the
The Greeks.
yeah, the Greeks. And
Yeah.
so I was like, I'm not quite right, but still
It's
kind of
close though.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
close. I mean, the Romans stole stuff from the Greeks, so if that helps.
Okay, yeah, they're the thieves, but I
Oh,
was
they're
also
the big thieves.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that soundtrack also I felt like went
Yeah.
well with the vibes of Trial of Bronze and Blood or
Yeah.
Tobab. That's such a funny word. I love
I
it.
know. I know. It's so silly. And then
Tobab.
the sequel is Hofaf.
Oh,
So that's something.
you love the acronyms.
I do. Well, and then the third one is going to be something that's going to be like impossible to pronounce. I can't say what it is yet, but yeah,
You're
it's
gonna
going to
make it
be like,
happen, though. You'll make it
yeah,
happen. You have to.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what is Mythic Artifacts about? What's Bloodstone about? Is that Bloodstone? Yes. Okay.
Yes, Bloodstone. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the first book. It'll probably be a trilogy, and the Bronze and Blood Saga will be 4 books. But yeah, so Bloodstone is like the time period and general vibes of Indiana Jones. So it takes place in 1936.
Awesome.
Um, and it also has like the adventure and the romance of The Mummy, 1999. I have to say 1999 because there's like
Yeah.
there's
No,
there's the really bad Tom Cruise one that I never watched.
it doesn't even
And
count.
then I know.
It
Well,
doesn't
and
even
then
count.
apparently there's one that's coming out that's like some weird like horror film called The Mummy. And I'm like, what why are we
The
doing
real
this?
ones know what one you're talking about,
I
okay? The
know.
only one
I
that
know, right?
matters is Brendan Fraser. And the fourth one is coming out in,
I
is
know.
it the third one then with them, isn't it? Or, yeah,
The third one with them, but technically
yeah.
there's a third one that like we also don't talk about.
But it's the third one because it's the only one that matters. But
Right,
that one,
because of Rachel Weisz, yeah.
I literally just posted this to my story because I'm obsessed with those movies, but it's coming out in
Yes.
like 2028. And
I know. I was
I'm
like,
so
I think my series will be done by then, so that's good. I'll get some read through with that. But yeah, yeah, and then it's it's like if you also like National Treasure and Laura Croft Tomb Raider.
oh my God.
So
And everybody loves those. When
yeah.
I looked, it's because I was just looking at your profile and I'm like
Yeah.
looking at Bloodstone and I'm like, this is giving me Indiana Jones vibes, which if
Hmm.
it is the vibes of Indiana Jones, which I'm glad that was the first thing you said because I was
Yep.
like, I am a huge and again, the
Yeah.
original three, not
Right.
the new one. Sorry, but like
Which
I
is funny. I actually liked Dial of Destiny. I liked it. I liked it way more than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
okay, I didn't even know that one. So I only knew
Oh, it's
the,
on Disney.
the Crystal
Watch
Skull
it.
one. Okay.
Watch Dial of Destiny. So the
Does it
real
still have
quick,
Harrison Ford?
it does.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But it opens up like the opening scene is at the end of World War II when he's still like in Germany.
Oh,
And
so
he's looking for the scepter. So they use this like de-aging technology like
yeah.
with him. So it's still him. They didn't like put a different actor or anything, but oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I feel like you can tell. Like I feel like that's being
Yeah.
used more often now in movies. Like
Yeah.
they even did it in Stranger Things with Will. I don't know if you
Yes.
watched that, but like
Yes.
yeah, they went back
I
to
did
like
notice
season
that.
one. Um
Like, okay.
See, I told you I'd get off on tangents. You start talking about the Mummy and Indiana Jones. I'm like, yeah, let's talk
Let's
about all
go. Let's go. Yeah.
I know my
I'm
husband's gonna
in.
make fun of me. I'm like, her book's based off of Indiana Jones. He's like, of course, and you're gonna love it because you love. He's like, makes fun of me because I'm obsessed with Indiana Jones, but
Hey
I
man.
grew up on that stuff. So
Yeah, same. That's a fine, the fact that like so my parents because the second movie is technically a prequel.
yeah.
My parents showed me that first,
Oh, okay.
and that was a mistake because of the priest and like taking the heart out of the
Mm.
chest, and I had nightmares for like a week. But I moved on, and I love them.
How do you mind me asking how old you are?
How old I am now?
Yeah,
35. Yeah.
35. Okay, yeah. So I'm just a
Yeah.
little bit older than you. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but totally grew up on that. I don't think it traumatized me with that thing, but I definitely remember that scene where he's like
Hmm.
chanting.
And you're like,
Oh
what just
my
happened?
God.
Like, okay, that escalated very quickly.
Okay, well, so let's focus on
Yes.
Tobab.
Yes.
And so what inspired the story? And going off of this, I have to ask you, how much research did you have to do? So what inspired it and how in depth of research did you have to do for it?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, I had a bad querying experience. So I like shelved that book, which is now Bloodstone, and decided I obviously needed to write something new. And I was trying to figure out, I was like, I'd love to do like a Roman or Greek type thing. But I know that Greek has kind of been like overdone consistently. Sorry, I had an alarm just go off.
No, it's okay.
Consistently overdone.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, well, maybe I should try Roman, even if the Romans like stole everything from everyone. That's fine. They
Yeah,
should have something.
yeah.
but
Still
yeah. And then I saw that the Gladiator sequel was like announced, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I haven't seen that movie in a while. But yeah, like you said, like kind of grew up on it and
Mhm.
really loved, all the action scenes and all the heart
Oh yeah.
that was in action movies back then. The sequel was garbage, but we don't have to talk about that. Um, but yeah, so I was like, oh, okay, maybe I could do something like that where it's like,
Mhm.
gladiator trials and then, I was kind of like, well, what if my main character, my main female character, is kind of roped into these types of trials where she has to, help the last free nation on the continent. And of course, the guy who ropes her into it is basically her ex, not actually
Yeah.
her ex, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like just kind
The
of pitching
the
it to
long lost
myself.
love that she never got to
Yeah,
have kind of thing.
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, from that, it was just like, yeah, I could definitely write a story from that.
Yeah. You know what I liked about them? So she knew pretty much the whole time that's he was hiding stuff from her. But like
Yeah.
what I liked is that she was kind of like, I understand that he does. And she wasn't really like holding it against him. She was just kind of always wondering, like, what is it that he's hiding?
Yeah.
That's something that was kind of refreshing because I feel like most characters when they know someone's hiding something they get like really frustrated with them, but I was like she's pretty like accepting of it and was like I get it, like she's
She's
Kato.
pretty chill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I like
She's
that
like,
she was go ahead, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say she's generally like to your point, like probably if it were me, I'd be like picking up the scab until like they finally said something, right? But I kind of wanted to make her a character where she was just like, I'm following orders from technically a superior, like if he
Mhm.
never actually defected. And so like I can't like I'm not gonna question it. And that's part of her issue too, though, is that she should have questioned more things, right? And
Yeah,
didn't.
I feel like she
But
should have listened to her instinct a little bit more
yeah,
in certain cases, which I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but like
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's the hard part is that like trying to figure out like I'm looking at there's like I have a little stand that I take to events with me and she's like looking right at me right now. So I'm just like looking over at her and I'm like, what would she do? But but it was kind of like, it was I know some people are kind of like, why didn't she just like, question him until he said something? I'm like, well, because not everyone's like that.
Yeah, yeah.
People are just like, I'm I'm not going to question it. I've been taught not to really question things. So, like, taught as in like not question my superiors, but like
Yeah,
question other things. So
right.
that's the rub is that it's like, okay, I've been taught to be a spy,
Mhm.
but if, I'm almost spying on my superior, that's kind of weird and that doesn't make any sense. Like from
Yeah,
her upbringing.
right. And Kato was also that he was probably one of my favorite characters just because
He's everybody's.
yeah, I you know what? Just like the immediate hug when they
Mm-hmm.
meet and like he
You're
just
like, all right,
immediately
buddy.
accepts her. And like I guess
Yeah.
when I was of course in like gladiator world, but
Right.
like when I was thinking of like the ruler I immediately thought of Joaquin Phoenix and his
Hmm.
character and how he was actually like really, really corrupt and bad. And I was like kind of expecting something like that to happen. But Kato was just like this really loving and accepting man. And I was
Oh,
just like,
he's my little cinnamon roll. Yeah.
he's so sweet. I love him so much. But in saying that, which character scene was your favorite to write and why?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Kato because he was really fun to write. Who knows, maybe when if I return to like this world after the series is done, I could do like a prequel novella type thing
Oh,
with him where it's like about him.
yeah.
Because I really liked him and I feel like, obviously he didn't get an actual, chapter from his point of view or anything, but yeah, I know I really really liked writing him. And as a character, I loved writing him, but I think that, like, in terms of the other things I love writing dialogue. Dialogue, I used to be really bad at.
Oh,
Really,
really?
really bad at. Yeah, like 10 years ago when I was, just writing other things. And so I had to get better at it. And I think I got a lot better at it.
Did you
And
use anything
then,
in particular? Like what do you think helps you the most? So my goal with having indie authors is to help other indie authors. And
mhm.
so if you have any advice for that and like getting over that hump, like what was a good like did you have a resource, or was it literally just practice makes progress, or what?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helped to say the lines out loud.
Oh, okay.
For sure. And like kind of have a conversation with yourself. And
You
and
just look
yeah.
crazy. It's no big
Oh
deal.
yeah. Well, usually the conversations are inside my head,
Oh,
so it was really just saying them out loud. But I think that that's a big part of it. I think the other part is if you write a line and read it over again and think, would a person, whether they're in a fantasy world, in the real world, whatever, would a person say this?
yeah.
And if the answer is, well, that's kind
Yeah.
of probably not, then it's like, oh, maybe you should fix it then. And
Yeah.
I think that was how I started, is that like this is a really awkward line. Would I say this?
Yeah.
And the answer was like no a lot. And then it became more yes eventually.
Do you think you ever like over analyzed things and you're like, I've been saying this way too much and I'm thinking too much about it and I'm going a little
Hmm.
overboard, or
Yeah, I mean, all the time. I think that there are a lot of words that authors repeat without realizing, like nod and sigh, and like all these things that their characters do that, like, probably real people would do a lot, right?
yeah.
But you can only use it so many times before there's like reader fatigue of like, well, they already nodded like 2 pages ago, so
I literally just had this experience.
yeah.
I'm sorry for if the author ever sees this book, but I had DNF Lightlark and it's by Alan
Oh yeah.
Mather. And the freaking thing that kept getting repeated was Grim grinned, or the grin on Grim's face. And I'm like,
That's
how like
really obvious. Yeah, because it's like almost the same word and you're like putting it together alliteratively and you're like, hello?
I
What
was
are we
like
doing?
30% through, and I swear to God, there was at least 10 times it was mentioned. And I was like, this is just, and it's like one of those things where once the reader notices it, it
Hmm.
doesn't go
You can't
away every
unnotice
time.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I've had it happen before in a book. I forget what it was, but it wasn't the only reason I DNF'd the
Right.
book, but it was definitely a contributing factor and it really bothered me. So,
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting because that the book you're talking about is a traditionally published book.
yeah.
And so it's just really interesting how, yeah, how I mean, it seems more lately, at least to me, that more of that is getting through the editing
Yeah.
process in traditional publishing. And meanwhile, it feels like indie authors are held to like a higher standard, even though we have to pay editors and we have to do like our own stuff, right? And some people can't afford to pay an editor, obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
especially if you're just starting out. But and it's your first book, you're really inexperienced, but you want to get something out there. And so, yeah, it's really, I've noticed it at least in traditionally published books that have come out lately, where there's been like a lack of maybe as many rounds of editing as there used to be.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I can see that. But
yeah.
yeah, I think I have always been I don't want to say surprised, but when I first started really focusing on indie books, I kind of went into it having that like that thought that, okay, they don't do as much editing and like this isn't going to be as polished and I have to kind of ignore that. But like, I don't think I've ever really picked up on stuff like that. I really
Mhm.
feel like most of the books that I have read are really well written and really polished. And like, I feel
Yeah.
like they are amazing and spectacular writers. And it's like, how did this not get published? I don't know if they queried or anything like that. But
Right.
then looking at another book that I just DNF'd, I'm not going to say it again, but it's like this compared to this, like your honestly, your book, like your writing was phenomenal. And compared to that, I'm like, why? Like I don't understand that. And it's just, I think like, marketing and just
Yes.
like having a step up on like resources and finances
Yes.
and things like that really gives people the upper hand. And I feel like a lot of the big publishing companies are looking for the same formula. That's why we're getting all that
Yes.
like copy and paste, especially like with romanticy. I feel
Hmm.
like because I that's primarily what I read and that's primarily the authors that I'm reading, but a lot of it is like I can catch a plot twist from a mile away and I'm like, I am not a deep reader, okay? I am not. I
You're
am not.
like, I read for the vibes, okay? I should
And
not be
it's like
catching these. Yeah.
right. And if I can start like catching that, I'm like, okay, like this is kind of lame. But it's like that's what traditional publishers are looking for because,
It
authors like
sells.
Sarah J. Maas are like
Mhm.
exploding. It's like everybody wants, okay, well, like what's her formula? Let's find other
Yep.
books that have that same exact formula. Like I think I need to stop talking crap about this book, but Lilac was like a poor man's ACOTAR. You know what I mean? Like it was
I've heard that, yeah, from other
oh,
readers.
but it blows my mind. And I think indie authors have so much talent, so much potential. And, some people actively choose to be
Hmm.
an indie author and to self-publish. But for those who did query and didn't get picked up, I'm like, oh, how? Like, read so many good books, so many good, unique books.
Yeah.
And it's just
I
a
think
shame.
that's the issue. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's the issue for sure. I know that for Bloodstone, there were a few agents who wanted more romance. There are some books that are out that have more romance in them, like Raiders of the Lost Heart. I don't know if you've heard of that one, but they're very much romance forward
Yeah. Yeah.
books. And I've heard from some of the reviews that I've read, just because I wanted to see if it was actually comparable to Bloodstone. I don't think it is, only because the romance is more of a subplot for
Yeah.
my book rather than like, a main plot. But, that's like sometimes the plot really suffers. Um, Sometimes when it's very romance heavy. And I find that with the traditionally published books, especially. And I think that for Bloodstone, it wasn't right to have the romance be so much in the forefront. And there are a lot of things too that they might ask me to change that I would
Yeah.
not want to change. So be like, especially if they were like, oh, well, let's change the year to like after World War II. I'm like, no, are you stupid? That changes the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And who knows, publishers, editors, agents, they ask for a whole bunch of different, edits. And I think that for me, once I decided I wanted to self-publish Bloodstone, it was like, good, I don't have to change anything now. Because it was one of the
Yeah.
things I was worried about, because there's a lot of like mentions, you know, mentions of Nazis and Hitler and like, things that are very appropriate for the time, right? Because it was happening, right? Oh wow, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so have you pulled a lot of like experiences of what's going on lately that into that book? Like I guess when did you like finalize the book and like how long has it taken? Because a lot of the things that you're talking about are kind of like current events. So,
Yeah. Well, I remember I forgot to answer your question before about all
oh,
the research I did for I would because it applies, but all the research I did for a trial of Bronze and Blood, I did a decent amount because there's actually I didn't know as much about Roman history, and their deities don't come into play in my book, as you know, but is really more about their history and how they started, how they ended.
yeah,
And there, I mean, it's the Roman Empire was long, and
yeah.
there's a lot to go through. So I listened to podcasts. I read, it was really specific questions that I had. I didn't just read a full book about like the Roman history, like
Yeah,
that's too much.
yeah.
But I looked up like the Etruscans and how the Romans kind of completely like wiped them from
Mhm.
like history books. Like very few people know about the Etruscans anymore, but they created first like pasta.
What?
Besides China, who also had noodles,
Yeah,
obviously. They had pasta making utensils way back, and a lot of other stuff, but that's just one example. But yeah, so it was that kind of stuff that I was like, how can I create an empire that has taken over everything and has brought everything that from the conquered lands that they've taken and made it their own.
yeah.
Like there's a lot of things that you think, oh, that's Roman. It's like, well, actually that was like Egyptian first, or that was, Etruscan first. So
You could say the same thing about America. Like
uh-huh. Yes. And
every,
that's my jumping point
yeah.
right there.
Oh,
I,
sorry.
I actually did no, it's I actually did a lot more research for Bloodstone because there are a lot of intricacies that the US education system doesn't necessarily like to talk about. Like especially with World War II and how it's like, oh yeah, we won World War II and defeated the Nazis. It's like, well, did we?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
feels like there were a lot of other people fighting it for a lot longer.
yeah.
There were. And it's a lot of that. One of my beta readers was like, there is a lot of stuff in here that I did not know. So that kind of made me, I was like, yes, I'm
Yeah.
teaching people. But
Yeah, that's interesting. Like I like that it's like set in our is it
mhm,
fantasy? Like is there magic in this?
there is.
There is.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's like our world plus magic in Bloodstone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bloodstone is like there's a there's a secret society that she ends up being made aware of that actually
Okay.
her grandmother was a part of.
Uh-huh. Ooh,
And that she had no idea.
nice.
And yeah, but it was a lot of research. It was also like weird research. Like I had to for some of the locations I had to use Google Maps and like the street view to
Oh,
see what it would look like instead of
yeah.
just making it up. I didn't want to just make it up because it's like a real place.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So where does Bloodstone take place in? Like what's the
So it's Egypt.
okay.
And then they take a boat to the the tip of Italy, and then they keep
Okay.
taking that boat up until like northern Italy, and then they take a car
Okay.
to into the Dolomites, and then the last one of the last scenes is in Liechtenstein. You
Oh,
have to
okay.
drive there for something. So yeah, it's very much like a traveling type book, but it does start in Egypt, and the artifact that she's going after is Egyptian. So
Okay. I guess with both of these books, I mean, I'm trying to focus on Tobab, but because you have Bloodstone coming out so soon, it's hard not to focus on that. But what do you hope readers take away from these books when they do read them?
yeah, I'll say for Bloodstone, there wasn't too much in the sense of like I was just having kind of a good time
Yeah,
writing it, I was
yeah,
just like, this is fun. it's, there's romance and action, which is all my favorite things. And, I got to create this Roman inspired world that was just really, really fun to write. I think that I tried to focus on grief for
Mm,
parts of it, for sure. I've gotten some readers who reached out who were like really thankful for how I portrayed grief after Drew's best friend dies in the
yeah.
opening, chapters.
That's not a
And
spoiler, you guys.
yeah,
That happens right at the
it's
beginning,
in
okay?
it's
Yeah.
literally in the synopsis. Don't
Yeah.
freak out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. But yeah, that I thought I actually really liked that portrayal as well. I thought that was a highlight for her character arc for me as well.
That makes me feel good because I was like, I don't know, is it gonna bother people that she keeps thinking about her friend? You know what I mean? They're like, oh, let her go already. But I was like, I wouldn't, you
Yeah,
know?
no, yeah, we're
Yeah.
not all Erica Kirk.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're not all
Um,
gonna have like pyrotechnics behind us. Like,
yeah,
I'm
no,
so sad.
I'm
Yeah.
so sad.
Oh my
Um,
God.
but
No.
did you take that grief? If I'm sorry if this is getting too personal, but did you take that from a personal experience?
I mean, I feel like there's little griefs throughout our lives. There's nothing in particular that like there's no death or loss that I particularly took it from. I think that, yeah, I think it's just that we face a lot more like loss in our lives than we realize. And I think we want to think that we sweep it under the rug and that we've gotten over it and that we're going to move on. But like every now and then something just hits you. Like, for example, my uncle passed away like a few years ago, but every now and then I'll be reminded of something of him and it just like hits me again. It's just one of those things where you're just like, oh yeah, they're never really like gone from you. Like
Yeah.
even in the second book, the Heir of Fate and Flame, excuse me, Drew still is like has moments where she thinks about her best friend, like something will happen and she'll be like, oh man, yeah, like Ovi and I would have done this together, you know?
Yeah, yeah, no, totally. And I feel like grief doesn't just come in the form of losing someone to death.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we can mourn lost relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Relationships that have grown distant or just completely ended, or even past versions of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Totally.
And so I feel like a lot of people can connect with that, even if they haven't necessarily lost someone.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think you portrayed it really well. So great job.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So let's start talking in the indie author segment. And so, what first inspired you to become a writer?
Yeah, so I've wanted to be a writer since I was a kid. My first book was
Yeah.
based off a recurring dream I had when I was like 11 or 12. Yeah,
Oh,
it was this weird dream that I kept ending up on this island. It was almost like a treasure island type like sense,
okay. Yeah.
feeling,
Yeah.
but it was weird because like for the most part the island was like happy and like fun. I don't,
Was it
remember all the
Muppet Treasure
details.
Island? Have you ever seen that?
Have I seen it? You mean the best treasure island there
That's
is?
my kind of treasure
Yeah.
island.
Yeah. No, if only. But like, so I would have that dream,
Yeah. That's
and
so
then there was one time where the dream turned like dark.
Oh.
Like all of a sudden people were like running from this monster.
Oh.
And that's like how the dream kept on, like when I would have it again, it kept turning dark. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to remember the timing because I I moved a few times when I was a kid. I was born in San Diego and then we moved to Michigan where most of my family is from.
Okay.
And then we moved from there to Arizona when I was 8 and then Arizona to Southern California where I am now when I was like what's the middle of 6th grade? Whatever age that is. That's when I
Like
left.
12.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So
Okay.
that's probably around the time that the dream turned kind of dark.
Interesting.
Trauma. So I
Yeah.
that was the first and then like I just had to write it down.
Yeah.
And that's probably on a floppy disk somewhere. I'm totally aging myself there, but that's definitely on one of my dad's floppy disks somewhere in the
I'm
house.
older than you, honey, so it's okay. You're in good company. So do you have what's your job? Do you have a normal job or are you a writer? Like, yeah. So what
Yeah.
do you do on this? What do you do as well?
I mean, I'm sure as you may know that living in California, you almost always have to have either some type of side hustle or a second, a regular job, as they say, but to like make your mortgage. Um, so I work for a pharmaceutical company, and like all the commercials that you see where like they're like you can die and here's all
All
these
the
side
long list of
effects.
potential side effects. Yeah. Yeah.
It's my job to make sure that those are included.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah,
thank you for
you're
keeping
welcome.
us informed.
You're welcome.
Oh my
But
gosh.
that's general. That's sort of a general statement. Obviously, I look at a lot of other things
Yeah.
other than that. But yeah, that's like sort of what my job is. But yeah,
Is it your goal to eventually become a full-time writer?
it would. I mean, we talk about it, my husband and I, and I mean, it would have to be like Game of Thrones money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like could because the benefits at my work are very, very good.
Oh, okay.
So it would have to be like Game of Thrones, like Hunger Games level
Okay.
of yeah, money.
Okay. And yeah, that's tough because I feel like only a lucky few, at least when you look
Yes.
at like the amount of authors that there are compared to those who actually do make it big, it's tough out there.
Well,
It's
and I've noticed too that like a lot of the authors who do manage to kind of make it big, I noticed that they don't have regular jobs. And I think that it helps them to be able to just focus on writing as their like job. Obviously many of them have children. So of course that's obviously like, its
yeah,
own job, right?
yeah,
But I find that the ones that really like get popular don't actually have regular jobs. And what the I don't know what the correlation is with that.
yeah. That's interesting though.
Yeah.
So speaking of, the next question I have is what is your writing process like? So daily routine. So if you're already working, I'm assuming a full-time job plus writing and you have one book coming out, you have two more books, right, for the Bronze and Blood Saga. So
Hmm.
how are you how are you juggling that and how are you getting your writing done?
Yeah, not well. But
I'm managing it.
yeah, it's
I'm very
yeah.
stressed all the time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's yeah, I just try to write when I can. I wish I had like a routine. Like I know some people who have like regular day jobs are like, I get up at like 5 a.m. and I was like, I'll die if I wake up at 5 a.m. every day. I will literally pass away.
Yeah.
Like, and even writing at night, like I can't, it's because my brain wants to relax. It doesn't want to be creative, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. It just
Yeah.
wants to like chill out.
Mhm.
So I try to write at like lunchtime, or if I have any downtime, like between meetings or something, I'll take my laptop out and either edit a chapter or try and draft a chapter. But it's been hard lately because of everything that's going on
Yeah.
in the US
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah.
And because I'm marketing another book right now, my head is kind of still in that world, even though it's very different. Like for
Yeah.
example, the Bronze and Blood Saga, as you know, is from like third person point of view, whereas Bloodstone is first person point of view.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like it's also, getting out of that like first person mentality is difficult. But it's also just been like I've been doom scrolling too much. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have like a setting on my phone where it like blocks me from using like Instagram and Threads for like a certain amount of time. So I got to put that back on. I was doing
Just
okay.
gonna say to do that.
Yeah, I was doing okay. And then like things started blowing up and I was like, oh, I'm not okay now.
Yeah. No,
I'm
no,
not
I
okay.
know. It's so hard. It's so hard with everything that's going on. And it's like you
Yeah.
want to be informed, but at the same time, you also want to protect your mental health.
I
And
have
so it's like,
to.
it's a
That
hard balance.
my therapist tells me I have to, so I
Yeah.
guess I have to.
My therapist too. Oh, look at that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we have good therapists.
We do.
So I think we kind of touched on this a little bit, but what's been your biggest challenge as an indie author?
Oh, a lot. No, needing to,
Everything.
yeah, everything. No, I think needing to market
Mm,
it like consistently is really hard for me. I took
yeah.
some time off after I think after Tobab came out, I took some time off of posting and it was so nice.
Yeah.
It was literally so nice. And I know that you can, pay people to create content and like, get a PA, a personal assistant or something, but that's also money that I'm like,
Yeah.
is it worth spending or should I just like bite the bullet and just keep plugging away and keep posting when I can. So I think definitely I wish I could just like sit down and write my books and not the it's like you don't want to have to find new readers on your own. You wish that they would just come to you, but I also love talking to readers.
Yeah.
So it's like a double-edged sword of like I really love talking to readers, but like if they could just find me without me doing anything, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're going to be my March author because at the end of the month, you're going to get to talk to the people in my book club about the book. So
Amazing.
that'll be fun.
Love that.
Yeah, I think that that's honestly the consensus. I feel like so many authors that I talk to are like the writing was the easy part. It's what comes after and what, because you think that you just have to write a book, but there is so much that comes after that that you have to keep up with, especially if you're an indie author,
Yeah.
that you don't really expect it when you start writing, but
Yeah.
it's something you have to do nonetheless, you know?
Well, and the crazy thing is too, is it used to be like, oh, when you self-publish, you're gonna have to do everything yourself, right? Like all the marketing, all the, the writing, the editing, the covers, everything is gonna have to be you. But if you do traditional publishing, you don't have to do any of that. And it's not true anymore. It used to be that there were whole marketing teams. Obviously, they still do the cover, they still do the editing. We talked about how like not super great the editing has been lately.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like maybe you do need to do like get your own editor before you start like even querying, right?
Yeah.
And then yeah, the only thing traditional publishing really does now is like distribution to like bookstores. And I
Huh.
feel like everything else is like they've kind of left to the author to do now. Like you can talk to any traditionally published author and they'll tell you how much more marketing, especially if they've been around for a while. If they've been around for like 10 plus years, they'll tell you they've had to do a lot more marketing lately than they did when they first started, even though they shouldn't have to because they're more like established. So you would
Yeah.
think they wouldn't have to, but
Huh.
yeah.
That's interesting because then I feel like there's less incentive to try and get traditionally published then. If you're
Mm-hmm.
still required to do all that extra work, then why even give them the rights to your book if you can just self-publish?
Yeah, and I think, obviously another one of the hard parts is like we were just paying everything yourself first, like upfront, like you're
Yeah.
eating those costs that a publisher would normally do it, but you also get 100% of the profits.
Yeah.
So, to your point, it's like, okay, well, why am I advertising for a book that I'm going to give that it's either on a royalty program, right, which usually some of the smaller publishers do, or it's like the publisher has given you an advance and the royalties are very small, like 5 to 10%. So it's like, why would they already paid me. Why would I do extra work to give them 90% of the profits? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's this sort of, unfortunately, but it is a capitalist mentality of like, why should I make them more money? It's really, you have to shift that mindset, I think, because you're really just trying to get your books out there and you have to get it out however you can and
Mm.
find more readers. But I get the frustration because it's like, especially for traditionally published authors, it's like, well, why should I put effort in? Like they're the ones that need to make money.
Mhm.
They've already paid me.
Yeah. Um, what has been your proudest moment so far in your writing journey?
Yeah, so I think This is gonna sound maybe lame, but I've always wanted to be in a book box, and a new book box actually from the UK reached out to me
Oh,
and said they wanted to include Tobab as their their February book.
oh,
So yeah, so that happened. It was really cool. And they did like a new cover and they did art
sprayed
and
edges.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you
Yep.
post about this?
Yeah. I
Oh
mean
man, I got.
they posted about it and collabed with me. I was like, what's the right word? Uh-oh.
I don't know.
You're like,
But so do like I when I asked, did you post about it? Like, can we see what it looks like?
yeah, I mean, I can show you. Here's what I just have the like page that I signed. So like here's
Oh,
the inside page
oh my
where
gosh.
I signed in that circle right there.
That's
But
so cool. Yeah,
yeah.
that is a big goal. That's awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, that was a big deal for me, I think. Especially I like the cover for the first book, but like it could be better, and I think that probably once I get my rights back, I'll do different covers, but yeah, I really like the version that they came out with for the Everheart book box. Which is the one who picked me up, and they did like overlays on the inside. It's like a whole thing.
That's so cool. I can't wait
Yeah.
to see it.
Yes.
So, do you have any advice for aspiring indie authors?
I wrote like such a long paragraph for this.
Do bullet points.
Well, okay, so I do have advice, but I don't like not everyone's gonna like it.
That's okay. It's okay. If it's honest and authentic, then I want to hear it, you know?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing is that while I hear this advice all the time where people are just like write the book of your heart.
Yeah.
And yes, you should do that. But it's also important to understand that there are trends that change like every month, every few months within publishing. And especially when it comes to being an indie author, you kind of have to follow what traditional publishing is doing because they're the ones who have the big numbers. They're the ones who are setting the trends for the most part, right? And so even though you should really love, I mean, you should love your book, because you're going to have to read it like at least a dozen times before it's like
Yeah.
ready. Like
Yeah.
like you should love it. But I think it's also important to understand that it might not be the right time for it.
Okay.
And so I think that that's why the most important part of publishing from an author perspective is writing.
Okay.
Yes, marketing is important, but if you write the book of your heart and put it out there, right? You decide to self-publish it, you do everything you can to make it successful, it might not be the right time for it.
Yeah.
And you're going to be really hard on yourself and you're going to say, I did everything right. What happened? Like what went wrong? And it's because no one's reading epic fantasy right now.
Yeah.
Or like, you know what I mean? Like no one's reading small town romance or something like
Yeah.
that. And they
Yeah.
are, but
Yeah.
you know what I
No,
mean?
I was just, well, we hadn't even talked about like, is there any romance in the book? And so it's like, I feel like
Yeah.
romance is so taking over right now. And it's like,
Yeah.
I think it's refreshing to have romance be, if anything, a subplot. And like, it's just
Mm-hmm.
like kind of off to the side. But all I look for is, I just want to be interested in it. I want
Mm-hmm.
the plot to be plotting. Okay. Like, I
Yeah.
want to be sucked into the story. I want the world building to be well done.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I feel like that's kind of a brutal truth is that like I feel like who was I talking to? Gosh, who was my last author? I like trying to remember.
I feel that.
It's Harriet Ashford. Okay, but she was
Okay.
like, if you love what you write, then you're already like successful. You've already accomplished so much because you did what you wanted to do. You
Mm-hmm.
love your writing and you like sealed the deal and it's done. Like you put it
Yeah.
out there in the world. But what you're saying is that unfortunately there are trends that are happening and if it's not getting picked up it's because that's not what's trending right now. And so
Mm-hmm.
but in saying that maybe this isn't the time doesn't mean that the time's not coming,
That's right.
right? And so
That's
you have
right.
to be kind of patient for that.
I mean, that's what happened with me with Bloodstone. I originally started writing it because, again, I know this is going to sound so silly because it sounds just like what happened with Tobab, but I saw that they were going to have a fourth Indiana Jones, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. I've always wanted to write a story that's like adventure and has some romance in it. And so, and I was like, and that's obviously, it's one of my special interest time periods as well, is all the stuff that was going on pre World War II.
Mhm.
And so, I sat down and I thought, oh, that's a great time. That would be a perfect time. People will be interested. People will be wanting to read those types of books again because of the movie coming out. But I learned as I queried that people are less interested in, I shouldn't say people, I should say agents. And as maybe you don't, but many of them are female agents. There are a lot less male agents. And so I actually got most interest from the male agents, I think, because I was like Indiana Jones, adventure, and they wanted my fulls. But like the female ones, yeah, wanted more romance, or like a couple of them were like, yeah, I haven't seen Indiana Jones. I was like, what?
I'm judging
Like,
you.
yeah,
Sorry,
I
but
know.
let me introduce you then.
Right,
Okay.
right.
God,
I
that's
know.
blasphemy in my book.
I
No.
know, right? And I got that. I got one of those emails. I think this person hadn't seen The Mummy either, and I was like, all right, well, clearly this was never going to work. So, but I'm like, all
You
right.
got the wrong audience, honey, because
Mm-hmm.
I know that there is
Yeah.
a huge fan base for both of those.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like that's what I realized though is that at least like publishing, like traditional publishing was not looking for books like that at the time. If they were sort of adventure-y type books, then they wanted romance to be like at the center of it instead of being like slightly off to the center but still there. So I think that I actually decided to self-publish before they even announced the new Mummy movie coming out. I was like, it feels like the right time to put it out there. I feel like, especially like you were talking about with all the stuff that's going on in the US, it was after all the research I did for Bloodstone, it was like, wow, this is very indicative of like things that are happening. Like if you read it, you'll be like, uh-oh, uh-oh.
Gonna highlight this one. So that
Yeah.
resonates really strongly with me
Mm-hmm.
right now. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I bet.
Yeah. So, but then they had the announcement, and I was like, well, that's serendipitous, I guess.
Mm. Well, hopefully it gets to be popular because of that coming out. Well, I guess it's not until 2028. It's coming on May, so.
Yeah.
So I had a reader submit a question, but I was kind of confused because I was like, wait, she doesn't even have book 3 out yet. So they
Yeah.
asked when book 4 was being released, and I'm like, did I miss something? I was like,
No, maybe they meant book three. Yeah, book three, I don't know. I'm still writing it. Like I said, I've been struggling. But it'll be out this year. I'll
I've been
make
scrolling
sure.
Instagram, you guys. I'm sorry.
I'll
You're gonna have to wait.
Yeah, no, I'll make sure that it comes out this year, but I think that I think I needed to publish something in between.
Yeah.
And it felt right for it to be that book because, well, that's one of the only other ones I have finished besides a Norse epic romantasy that I have that you're like, hold up. It's not Viking, it's Norse, but it's
Okay.
Norse. Yeah.
Okay. Well, still cool. I did immediately think Vikings,
Yeah.
and I do love that too. But still, very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Is it like Norse gods though? Like,
Yeah. It's
okay.
like it's supposed to be that like Ragnarok is coming and gotta figure out how to stop it type of deal.
Yeah.
But that one I've been writing off and on for like 15 years. That one taught me how to write kind of was
Okay.
writing and rewriting that book. Um
That's cool.
but yeah, fourth book will be next year for sure.
Okay. But still, the fact that the third one's you're still planning on having it come out this year, that's crazy. You guys are so talented. I don't know how you do it. I do not know. You guys must be insane. I don't know how you do it.
Oh, I am. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm totally insane. I don't know if you can tell, but I am.
So yeah, so more advice. I mean, it's so like we were talking about, it's important not to go into the process with like rose-colored glasses. I've
Yeah.
seen so many indie authors like wondering why their books aren't doing well, and it's just timing.
Yeah.
But I think part of that is like don't be afraid to delegate certain tasks that yes, you will have to pay for, like social media posting, editing, character art. Like
That's
yes, you have to
you.
yeah, exactly. So it's like yes, you have to pay for those things, but you know, if you just do some of them, right? I think or you have other people do some of them, it'll save your sanity because if you feel like you have to do everything, like you're just going to freeze up and not do any of it. And then there you go. Like,
Yeah.
you know, completely botched the entire thing. But there's that. And then the third thing, which is like almost impossible, unfortunately, these days, but like find other indie authors who are like on your same journey right now. Like traditional publishing is already pretty lonely, but like indie
Yeah.
publishing is even worse because you literally all you have is you. Like there's no team of people who's helping you unless you pay them. Right? So it
Yeah.
can feel like, oh, I'm just kind of in this alone. So I think it's important to find a group of indie authors who are like at your same general sort of stage. Like, are you writing right now? Probably find ones that are like writing their debut.
Yeah.
Or, you know, just people you can commiserate with and you know, give your manuscript to and they give it back, but it's super lonely. I'm lucky that from the beginning I've had like critique partners who I met before.
Yeah.
So
I was
so
gonna
that
say, do you
was
have places that you've met other authors? I mean, obviously, we're part of the Bookstagram community, and I still truly am so in love with this community. I love them
yeah,
so much, and especially now that my focus has become indie authors.
yeah,
Like I've posted videos like, "What advice would you give to other indie authors?" And it's
yeah.
like let's help each other out. But I feel like this community is so open to helping each other out, and I try to emphasize like when we help one, we help all. The more we get indie books out there, the more the algorithm's going to pick it up and like SEO and whatever. But um
Yeah, I
I guess
agree.
like did you find like any other groups like through Facebook or like threads or not threads like forums or anything like that?
Yeah, I found some people through Instagram that yeah that we could be in a little group in, but definitely my like core group of it's just four of us, and you know we talk to each other every day, and then we help each other's manuscripts, and through you know if we're having like a writing block for you know a particular plot point or something like that, you know we talk it through. um the other friends, I definitely made other friends, but these ones are like
Yeah.
my core people that it's like, you know, kind of like unbreakable,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is very hard to find because I feel like there are definitely authors who are fine kind of like taking advantage of your kindness or your naivety, you know, where you're just like, oh, okay, I tried to be helpful and you just like turned around and like took my idea, or you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like something where it's like, oh, okay, I feel like I can't trust anybody now.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
fun.
hard. Yeah. And I feel so from my perspective, it's really, and I don't think it's, I don't know, because I've posted frustration about it and people have commented on it, but whenever I post about like information about indie authors in general, like um, information about publishing or like why they would choose to self-publish
Hmm.
or what readers shouldn't do, like tag them in a negative review or something like that, right? And so or pirate their work like so
Imagine.
all of those posts that are like general about indie authors get so much more um interactions than when I do like an individual indie author post. I'm like,
Interesting.
what is this? Like, is this because like I picked MK like and you guys are like salty about it, or is this literally just like the algorithm saying like no
We
because
don't want this. Yeah.
right? And so like
Yeah.
it's very confusing, but like I'm like, is it the indie authors like not wanting to support other indie authors or like upset that they're not getting the support that I'm providing this author? You know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
understand that. And it's like maybe there are some people like that, but
for
when I
sure.
posted about that, the authors who did respond were like, we never even saw this. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, so it's literally just the algorithm and
Yeah, I think it can be both.
yeah,
I think that, yeah, definitely the algorithm hates all of us,
yeah,
100%. But I also think that there is a level of jealousy. I think that we all feel
yeah. We can't help
when,
but compare, you know,
yeah, yeah,
and I
there's,
think that's why it's important when you say like find somebody else who is also at kind of the same point in their journey. So it's just like somebody that you vibe with, who you can trust, who understands what you're going through, and
I
that you
think
can lean on, you
like
know?
don't try to latch onto the whale. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
don't see that maybe like there's an indie author who's like starting to pick up and you like message them and you're like, let's be friends. It's like that feels very kind of predatory, I guess, and
Yeah.
just like, not in that type of way, but just in a like you don't want to be friends. You want to latch on to success,
Yeah.
right? And I think that that's what can be hard is that
Well,
you're like, do you actually want to be friends and like talk and be real, or do you just like want me to boost you, right?
it's sad that you guys feel like you have to be so guarded.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad.
Yeah, that
Because it
definitely
is a
comes from
competitive
experience.
arena, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
competitive arena, so it's hard not to, but yeah, that's a shame.
I've seen it from it happens on threads a lot. I'll see some, smaller indie authors who their posts are clearly coming from a place of jealousy of, other authors who are doing better than them. Like for example, as you know, there are indie authors who are getting traditional publishing deals like based off their how well their self-published ones did.
yeah.
And you can just see, I mean, not to say that I don't also feel the jealousy, but I'm not out there like posting on threads like
Yeah.
telling people about my
You're not going to
jealousy.
spread the
Yeah,
negativity. Like, you could be like,
exactly.
have a little pity party for yourself if you
Yeah,
want to.
yeah. And then realize again, it's about timing.
Yeah.
And it also is about being able to pay for things. And some of these people already have agents. They just happened to choose to self-publish this
Yeah.
particular book.
Yeah.
And then, traditional publishing will see the success and be like, oh, yeah, sure, come on over here.
Yeah.
So,
One of my first author that I ever did a feature month for, her name's LJ Claren. I don't know if you've heard of her.
that sounds familiar.
She wrote The Silversmith.
Okay.
Um, but she got picked up by a publisher, and so I actually want to do an interview with her after her
Like a
re.
follow-up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like, so what's been going on? How, like, what's
How are things
changed?
different?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
I like that.
I'm really curious to hear from her again. But I'm like so proud of her, obviously. But
Yeah.
I know she, you know, I'm not to say that you didn't bust your ass, but like I know that
Yeah.
she sent out a lot of copies of her book, and like
Mhm.
she
She
invested in it.
hustled. She
Yeah,
hustled
she
and she
really did.
invested. Yeah.
Yeah, she really did. Um, so as we wrap up, do you have a way that you prefer readers to connect with you?
Yeah, I mean Instagram and Threads is where I am
Okay.
most of the time, more than I should be, for sure. I do also have a newsletter
Okay.
that I send out that you can sign up at the link in my bio.
Okay.
And I usually offer it anytime. Like for the advanced reader copy form, I always offer to like add to the newsletter.
Is it
Um,
like a monthly newsletter or?
it's whenever something's happening.
Oh, maybe I should do that because I have a monthly newsletter. I'm like, what am I going to talk about now?
It's been more only because I share art in that
Okay.
newsletter,
Yeah.
and as things like ramp up for Bloodstone, obviously like I have more to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when it was after Hofaf
Yeah.
came out, it was kind of like I don't really have anything to say, so
Yeah.
just hang out.
Yeah, I'm kind of empty right now.
Yeah.
So, where are the best places for readers to purchase your books?
Yeah, so for the Bronze and Blood Saga, it's just Amazon only right now. Um, I'm
It's on
hoping. Go ahead.
it's on Hoopla, isn't it Hoopla? Or I guess that's not purchasing. I'm so sorry.
I was
I
like, is
apologize.
it? I'm like, uh-oh.
I
No.
think that's where I listened to it. I'm sorry. I'm
No, that's good. I think that yeah, that the audiobook is definitely, I think probably other places.
yeah.
And I think you can, yeah, you can request them at your library too.
Yeah.
But yeah, but for that series, Amazon only. I think I'm trying to figure out for Bloodstone if I want to do Kindle Unlimited or not. I don't know if it's that the type of book that would do well on Kindle Unlimited. I know that for a lot of books, it's usually if they're like romance and you can like get through them really quickly.
Yeah.
But I don't, this is not one of those books that you can like gobble up kind of quickly.
Yeah.
It's one that you like kind of have to sit with for,
Yeah.
for parts
I
of it.
agree.
So yeah, so for Bloodstone, I'll probably go wide, as they
Okay.
say.
I don't know
Just
what that means. What does that mean?
so yeah, so it just means not like so when you sign up for Kindle Unlimited, they you basically sign an exclusivity clause with them where like you can't
Oh.
your ebook can't be anywhere else. Yeah, it's kind of lame. Which is
Yeah.
why I don't want to do that because obviously there's Kobo ebooks and their bookshop now also I think does ebooks. So there's other places that people could find the ebooks at. Yes, they'd have to buy them, but
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
I want to learn more about that side of indie publishing because like one of my authors was able to get her book into Barnes and Noble and so like I guess that whole process of like where to put your book
Yeah.
and where to sell it and you like sell it on your own site like do you have a
To,
website where you sell your books or
yeah, not yet. I probably will for Bloodstone. And then there's a couple websites you can use for like there's one called The Venti
huh,
where I used it for an event because
okay.
that was where they said you could do pre-orders and it's pretty easy to use. You can just it's like an order form type thing. But yeah, the Barnes and Noble thing is like I think you just have to make sure that your book is available through Ingram Spark, which
Yeah,
is
okay.
yeah, they do a lot of the print books. They're also kind of predatory with their policies. So people are trying to find alternatives,
Okay.
but it's yeah, they're the biggest shark in the ocean right now for physical books for indie authors.
Interesting. Yeah, I just wrote down. I'm sorry, I was writing down like,
Yeah,
how authors
good.
decide how to sell their books because I feel like
Hmm.
that's a good post idea because
Totally.
I like to be informative, but I also like to do my own research and figure out stuff like that because I had no idea about Kindle Unlimited and like it's like an exclusivity contract. That's crazy.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
like you literally would just be through Amazon and then that's it.
For ebooks, yeah. Yep.
Like it would be Kindle Unlimited and then a paperback maybe on Amazon and then like that's it. Or
Yeah, well, that's just for the ebooks. That's exclusive. You can do
oh,
your print copies through
oh okay.
anybody. Yeah.
But still, this is good information to have. And
Yeah.
I feel like also for people who are just like starting to write their books, this is good information for them to know ahead of time. So
Yeah.
for the post idea, baby.
You're welcome.
All right, MK. Well, thank you so much for being here. Did you have any final words or messages or any like sneak peeks or anything like that or little teasers that you want to mention before we head out?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, I appreciate all my readers and I love meeting new ones. I always write from the heart and I hope it comes through on the page. Because it's we writers always put a piece of themselves into a book, whether it's like, for example, A Trial of Bronze and Blood. It's surprisingly not Drew that I put parts of myself into. It's actually Marcus.
Really
Um,
interesting.
hmm
I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
read now
especially
so I can
you're
learn
like,
more about you.
hold on, hold on. No, especially I'd say especially the second book.
Oh, okay.
There, because I mean, no spoilers, but after the ending, obviously there's like something that he goes through that really affects him and will affect him for the rest of the series. But yeah, there's definitely some of the like abandonment issues and like other things that he has to you're like, oh buddy, that he
Yeah.
has to deal with. That obviously like I'm still trying to deal with. So
Well, no, I wasn't even thinking about Marcus. I was thinking about you, and I'm like, oh, that's what you're putting yourself into right now. Like, but I guess I mean that's another way to kind of navigate those things is to put it in writing. So it makes sense.
yeah, it's funny because some people I've noticed some authors are saying like writing is my therapy, and I was like, you should probably also go to therapy.
I feel like I I was talking to one of my friends, and she like started welling up, and I was like, you should go to therapy. Like, it's so good.
Dude, I say it to everyone. I swear. I'm like, you should go. And it's not a knock on you. I'm saying it's helpful.
That's what I
Okay? I'm
told her.
not saying you're so broken that you need therapy. I'm like, no, no. Everyone should go.
Yeah, so I'm so sorry. This is totally off track, but like a week later, I saw her again. I was like, I've been thinking about what I said to you, and I am so sorry if I came out like thinking that you need fucking. It's really helped me, and I feel
Yeah.
like
I just
you
want
got a
you
lot
I
of big feelings.
yeah. I just want to help you. That's all. I love you.
So if you guys aren't going to therapy, check it out. It's really good.
Yeah.
But find one that a therapist that works for you because it took me a long time.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Anywho, enough about therapy.
It's
So
fine.
if you guys want to hear more from indie authors, then be sure to like and subscribe. And until then, happy reading.